Hey guys, this is MikeGoG with another Godforge video. I'm pretty sure this is the last day. They might be shutting it down, I believe at 8 a.m., but maybe I have another day. I'm not entirely sure. So I got to go pick my dad up at the airport, so I'm not going to be able to get into it right now as far as the game. But when I get back, it'll either be here or it won't. I do have some stuff I'd like to get done, but we'll see how it goes. As far as the account goes, I mean, we've had a pretty successful go of it. I think we've officially got everybody in the game. So we do have quite a few people leveled up all the way to Awaken level 5. I've gotten 37 hells. I don't even know how many. I've gotten a lot of Himdalls, which I'm not complaining about. Hell, a little more. I wish I could have spread those legendaries out a lot more. I've gotten 2 Zeuses, so they were a little, or excuse me, 3. I got 3 Zeuses, and I got 1 Sphinx and 1 Loki. But if we go in here, let's take a peek at these rarities and see what's going on. So we got Dracula up here, Himdall, and Shamash, as well as Hell and Quetz, all at Awaken level 5. We also got Pangu and Ra here at Awaken level 5. And then I never built my Loki. I was holding on to this copy of Zeus because one of the stars is beat something without placing any buffs on yourselves. And as soon as you put that first awakening on Zeus, he starts adding Sharpen before he takes a turn. So I was going to actually deck out that other Zeus and see if I could get through that content, but I never actually got around to doing it. So we'll take a peek at where I ended up on the account here. As we jump over into the cavern, I got all the way through stage 42. On this one here, defeat the stage with only Azumo or Tian heroes. I'm assuming that's both because there's only 3 of each of those in the game, including your uncommons and commons, at least that I saw. So the team I was trying to go with was I had Pangu over here. Never did get his ascensions going. Just the drop rates on. By the time you can farm just the Eternals, you can get the middle and the high ones, but you can't get the low ones. So I had to go back and farm, and it just took a lot of farming at a low stage for me to get in there. So there was a couple other Eternal folks that I upgraded first, but I had him going on. I also brought in Musashi. He's part of the Azumo clan there, and then we had our starter hero being part of Tian, and then Shishi. And when I put this together and put all the best gear and outfit on the best I could not get past wave 1, and it wasn't even close. So the struggle with using specific heroes is you basically have to put them in healing gear and then have to have them do enough damage to heal themselves because they're not healing themselves or each other. So that was a pretty big challenge trying to get through that. I did outfit this team probably 4 or 5 times, which actually became kind of frustrating just because moving gear around right now, the way everything is, and trying to find the right gear is really clunky, as it is an alpha state. So it's, it's just kind of a little extra work, an extra burden trying to get through there. But I finally just gave up, threw in the towel, said I am not going to beat this one, and that's okay. So I have every hero in the game, so it's just, as far as I can tell you, it's just a really difficult level. If you were able to beat 142, and let me know who your team was, because I'd be very curious to find out exactly what your team was doing, and then maybe how you built them kind of generally, because I was just struggling. But anyways, got through 143 and 144, 145. I did try a couple times, but I do feel like I just barely put this team together at the end of the night last night, and I did get into I think I got all the way to wave 3 with it, so I'm pretty confident with the right RNG I could get through it. Let me take a peek and see what my team was on that one. These were the 4. I think there's a choice of 5. I think the other brawler we could have used was Gilgamesh. He's the other brawler that could go on the team. Probably hindsight would have been better to do Gilgamesh than Leonidas here. But I chose Leonidas because I didn't have the the stones to upgrade Gilgamesh, because I didn't have any of the little guys. So that was the reason I went that route, but that probably was a mistake. Got an AoE stun here. 50% chance to land. We got the taunt and counter strike on yourself for Green Knight, which worked out good. You also get counter strike here, and I was assuming he'd be in there doing my damage, but he just didn't do a lot of damage. To be fair, I had him more in a survivable build with healing as well as defense and HP, so he wasn't super focused on attack. But that was the team. I couldn't get through it with that. On stage 146, I actually didn't get a chance to even try this. I'm pretty sure this wouldn't really be that bad. So hopefully when I get back, the game's still on. I can give this a shot and see if we can get through it. But that one seems like that would be a pretty easy thing. You got your acid from Hercules. You do your burn from from YDG. And then you can do your bleed from Dracula and then bring in Zeus. And I think you'd probably roll right through it, would be my guess. But I don't have them built. Otherwise, I'd try it. Actually, I have Zeus built and I have Hercules built. I don't think I have Dracula or YDG, so that might have to be something I do when I come back. On 148, we have defeat the stage with only 2 rare heroes. That's going to be at this stage. I'm not doing enough damage. Is really what it comes down to. I can't keep myself alive and do enough damage. I can either build myself tanky enough to survive, or I can smack. And the rares tend to be pretty squishy, so that was a pretty tough one there. And this one I think is honestly the hardest one out there, is defeat the stage without placing any buffs on your allies and or defense down on enemies. So you can do debuffs on the enemies but no defense down. But really that placing no buffs on you is the hard part, because all of your champions just, they buff you up. So you're looking for your raw damages. I thought that's where Hercules does work here, but that's where Zeus would come in handy if he didn't have that first awakening. And then on the last challenging, defeat the stage without receiving blaze debuffs and with all 5 allies living. And that one I didn't actually get a chance to really dive into yet as far as that goes. But each of these stages probably took me a minimum of an hour moving through probably stage 40 and on, maybe even through like 35. And some of them I was working on for probably a good couple hours trying to get them done, just waiting for the right RNG to land, and it was just kind of silly. But yeah, so that's what I got going on there. As far as the final stage, I did run one additional run, just tried a team. I think I did about 6.5 million. I saw the leaderboard. Everybody's up over 100 million. I was like, okay, I got some work to do. So I never really got a chance to get into the homework and see what's going on that end, to see about building whatever the team is that people are using. But I only tried the one compilation on that, and it was good, but it wasn't great. It didn't have a lot of hope to hit 100 million, I can tell you that. When it comes to the leaderboard, I did get all the way down here in 67th spot. As far as defeating the stage 150, the fastest. So I was the 67th person to finish, which is pretty exciting. I was pretty pleased with that. As far as the stars, last I checked, I think I was in the top 20, but I probably slipped. Yeah, I'm 22nd now with 94. I'm going to say that's not too bad. I mean, some of those challenges, I thought they'd be a lot more forgiving or have a lot more options, but I mean, honestly, I think for my account, it came down to I didn't farm a lot of weapons, so my weapons weren't upgraded because I spread them out instead of upgrading them. And then the other piece of it was just my gear. I think my gear was letting me down. I just didn't have the pieces when I needed attack percent as a main stat plus speed and initiative. I had to make choices where it's like, all right, well, I'll go with defense percent as the main stat because I got attack percentage as a sub stat plus speed, but I never had the piece that I needed. And so that was kind of a tough part where it's like I couldn't really build the characters I needed to build to get through those stars. But 194 I'm pretty pleased with. Although if I could get to 195, I'd make it in that top 20. So maybe when I get back, I can get the acid burn and the bleed on and get that extra star or two. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then as far as damage goes, I'm not even close. It's almost embarrassing. Oh my gosh, this guy did 44,000 million. That's crazy. So he did 44 billion damage. So I gotta feel like these guys found a trick somewhere with some kind of team that's a little broken, which kind of gives me hope that if I could find that team, I'd just squeak my way right up here into the top 10 probably. But that being said, yeah, I think you need at least, I guess you get 83 million. 83 million gets you on the leaderboard. So I don't know, is there a countdown on this as far as how much time's left? There is not. So I don't know that I have time to actually try it or not, but that's where we're at. as far as the leaderboard is concerned. I will say I did spend most of my time farming on stage 140. I felt like the deeper I went into the challenges, the better chance I had to get legendary heroes. So I was just trying to get as many of my awakenings up as possible, because I figured when I started doing the runs for 2-star as well as the other things, that'd be a benefit. In hindsight, it might have hosed me a little bit, because there was a couple times I think by upgrading the character, it didn't allow me to qualify for the star, specifically if it was placing buffs or debuffs on my champions. In other ways, you had to upgrade them before they would do the debuff that you actually needed them to land. I actually was able to get the immortality on stage 92 utilizing a new Hercules I built, because I took all the gear off my Hercules and he was still going through and killing the waves way faster than he could get all of his ultimates going, because he's got to go 12 times before he gets it on there. But when I got the new copy of Hercules, I went ahead and I think I took him to level 40 and then went through there and put him in. I believe I used Isis for shielding and healing with the men's going on there, and that way she could keep him alive and he could just go through his ultimates until he finally did get immortality, and then it worked out. Then I went ahead and awakened Hercules after that, but that was kind of a fun one as far as that goes. But you just kind of played with different things to see how it goes. But I think one of the big pieces of it is it just felt like you're on a time frame, because with 10 days on the alpha wave, you're just trying to get a lot done as fast as possible, and certain things were, they just set you back. Like I didn't get my Zeus until 2 hours before I beat it, and as soon as I got him and got him upgraded, I went right through and it wasn't a problem. But it took me, I think it was on my 3rd day by the time I got my Zeus. It was like super late at night if I remember right. I think I was up till 2 trying to beat it, because I wanted to make that leaderboard. So depending on when you got what champs, I didn't get Heimdall until I think the 4th or 5th day. But then I got like 18 of them after that. I have so many copies of him on the imprint list. Yeah, between him and Hell, I could always get Hell another copy of her fully awakened. Like, it's crazy. But I got 4 extra copies. I think I've already used a few of these on weapons as well, and I also was getting some extra Shamash, and Pangu was the other one. He just kept dropping for me, so it was kind of fun. But I did go through, and I think I put every character in here apparently multiple times. And I was going to go through and take a look at all the imprints and just kind of play around with there, but I didn't get a chance to do that either. Look at all those Pandoras. I think a lot of it is I was farming. I got over 150. Once I had every character in the game, I didn't really care too much, because even from the imprint, you can go ahead and awaken them. So I was just kind of going through it and getting that done. But I did go through. I got all of the epics fully awakened. I got some 5-star food going on there. I got all the rares fully awakened. I didn't go back and farm lower levels to get all of the uncommons. Oh, here we can get this guy awakened. Let's get him done. So I mean, that would probably be pretty low hanging fruit, but a lot of these have no ability for the upgrade anyway, so it wasn't really, it was more of a collector in me trying to get that done more than anything. But it was kind of fun. But once again, I'm sitting here with a stacked account. It makes me super sad. I'm going to be giving them all away. I think that there was talk about getting extra rubies or something along those lines in the game if you logged in every day during the alpha test, which I think would be pretty fun. I go back to the same thing where I do feel like there's got to be some element in the game that even over some period of time, 6 months, a year, you could choose a legendary you want to get on your account, like some sort of currency, some sort of something. Because I mean, I think it's, having played with Zeus at this point, unless they nerf him, and they might, because he was pretty overpowered, but he's also an eternal legendary, like that you kind of want him to be overpowered. He's the god of gods. He should be amazing, and he is. But having played with them, I'm going to want him on my main account. And so it'd be nice to say, hey, if I really work at this thing for 6 months or whatever, I know that I can get a Zeus on my account. Or, Sphinx is another one that I really enjoyed playing with. YDG was another one. I'm trying to think some of the eternal ones that I'd be really sad. I think Shamash and Heimdall were fantastic, but those ones are the standard legendaries, which I'm assuming are going to be easier to get than the eternal legendaries. That might be a bold assumption. I don't know that to be true. But yeah, so I just kind of feel like there's some opportunity there potentially of making sure we can get those folks on our account. But once again, I had so much fun in the alpha playing. I'm going to go ahead and put this on auto, just see if I can get a couple more awakenings before they shut me down. I might have another day. I don't know if it's ending on the 12th or the 13th, and I'm too lazy to look, apparently. But I'll have to get in there and get going on some auto battles. But I'd say the biggest sticking point for me, honestly, the part that I found probably, I won't say frustrating, but it definitely like was discouraging, was moving gear around. That was probably it. But again, this is an alpha. That's going to be a lot of extra stuff going on to be able to start sorting through gear and going through that process and being able to like move an entire gear set. Hey, this is my damage dealer gear set. Let's move the whole thing over there. Stuff like that I think would have been significantly better. Being able to sift through your gear and be like, hey, I need speed. Like I want to build my ISIS as fast as I possibly can with HP. Stuff like that is going to make the game significantly more fun when it comes to gearing your champions. So I think that for me became kind of a sticking point where like, oh, I got to gear these guys again. And then you start like you're on trying to get those extra stars and you don't want to take the gear off because you feel like you're close, but you're also like, I'm kind of really over playing this stage. Like I don't want to play the stage anymore, but if I move on, I got to move this gear to other people. And so you play the stage for an hour longer than you want to, waiting for the right RNG. So that part of it was a little bit discouraging for me. But again, it is an alpha, and that's just one of the, like, I'm glad they put something out for us to get our hands on, and we could work through some of the clunkiness. Like, there were certain debuffs I was landing, I think Corrupt, that's supposed to make them skip their turn if they still have it up, and they would just blaze right through it and take their turn. There were stuns that people would take their turn through, which maybe they have a passive in their kit where they're just like, I ignore all of these disables, and they just get to go, but my feeling is that's not the case. But it's kind of one of those things, but it became a little more frustrating where you're trying to get that second star and you're limited on who you can use, and then all of a sudden parts of their kit aren't working properly and you're like, oh no. But it made it extra challenging. I put in some time and some effort, so it was kind of fun. But I had a great time with it, so I cannot wait for the beta to come out. I heard they're hoping for the end of the year. But I heard that a ways back, and so everything takes longer than we expect, and we want them to put out a great product, so we're willing to be patient, but I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. But that being said, I think that's about what I got for you today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me during this alpha wave testing journey. If you like to hang into the King Arthur, I'm still playing that in the background. Not a lot going on over there because their update was a little weak, but we are coming up on a new update in a few days, so hopefully they have something for me to talk about, kind of go through. I do have a couple tier lists I'd like to put out that I've been a little bit distracted over here playing Godforge. But I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next time.